So we've got some really interesting material sent in by you, our listeners, all centering on positive thinking.
Yeah, some great stuff.
Our mission today is basically to sift through this and pull out the strategies that actually work. You know, the practical things you can use to maybe bring a bit more optimism into your day-to-day.
Exactly. And the sources you sent, they really emphasize some pretty big potential benefits. We're not just talking feeling slightly better.
No.
It's more about like fundamentally changing your mindset, improving your health, both mental and physical, enhancing your whole quality of life, really.
It's quite a claim, but the ripple effect idea is compelling.
It is,
And one thing that really struck me is this idea that positive thinking isn't just something you have or you don't. The material frames it as a skill.
which is super empowering, right? It means it's something you can actually learn, cultivate.
Yeah. So even if it feels, I don't know, unnatural or difficult sometimes, there's this sense that you can develop it with practice.
Definitely. It offers a path forward.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Where do we start? The foundation seems to be gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude comes up again and again. And it's presented as more than just, politeness.
Right.
It's framed as a conscious practice,
Hmm.
focusing deliberately on what's good, on the abundance
Yeah.
rather than lack. It sort of retrains your brain, helps you notice the positives more easily.
Okay, so it's active. And the document had some really concrete ways to do this, like the gratitude journal idea,
Hmm.
just jotting down, 3 to 5 things daily, even tiny things.
Exactly. Your morning coffee, a nice interaction, a bit of sunshine, simple stuff. The key is consistency. It's like flexing a muscle.
Okay, that feels doable.
And the other part was expressing it to others, writing a note, saying thank you meaningfully.
Oh, yeah, I saw
It
it.
had that double effect, right? Makes them feel good.
Right.
But it also reinforces your awareness of the good stuff, the good people in your life,
Mm.
strengthens connections.
That makes sense. And I like the bit about reflecting on past good times or successes, especially when things are tough.
Yes, that provides balance.
It's like, okay, things are hard now, but I've gotten through things before. Good things have happened. It gives you perspective, maybe some hope.
Precisely. It's not about denying the difficulty.
Yeah.
It's about remembering the positives is also real. It provides that necessary counterbalance.
Okay. So gratitude is foundational. What's next? The material gets into tackling negative thoughts, right? Reframing.
Yes, cognitive reframing. This is a big one because, let's face it, negative thoughts happen to everyone.
Oh, for sure, that inner critic.
Right. But the key, according to the source, isn't stopping the thoughts entirely, because that's maybe impossible. It's about how you respond to them.
Okay. So how does reframing work practically?
Well, first step is just noticing them. Becoming aware of those patterns, like the I always mess up or this is bound to fail kind of thinking.
Recognizing the loop.
Exactly. Then you challenge it. You ask yourself, is this thought actually based on solid facts? Or is it more of a feeling, an assumption, maybe an exaggeration?
Like the example they gave, thinking I'm terrible at my job.
Right. Versus objectively looking at your accomplishments
Yeah.
or maybe positive feedback you've received. Seeking the evidence that contradicts the negative thought.
Gotcha. So you question it, then what?
Then you actively replace it. You find a more balanced, realistic, maybe even positive alternative. So instead of, I can't do this,
You shift to,
maybe something like, okay, this is challenging, but I can try my best, or I'll take it one step at a time and learn as I go. It's about consciously choosing a more constructive inner dialogue.
it sounds like mental gymnastics almost. Needs practice.
It definitely takes practice. Catching those automatic negative thoughts isn't easy at first, but the payoff is huge. You start feeling more in control of your own mental narrative.
Which feels really empowering.
Absolutely. You become less of a passenger to your thoughts and more of the driver.
Okay. So gratitude, reframing. What else did the sources highlight? The influence of our surroundings.
Yes, this is crucial. Who you spend time with, the spaces you're in, even the media you consume, it all seeps in.
Makes perfect sense. So choosing supportive people.
Definitely. Gravitating towards those who uplift you and maybe gently distancing yourself from relationships that consistently drain your energy.
And it was just people, was it? It was also about curating your information diet.
Exactly. Being mindful of how much negative news you're absorbing, for instance, or endlessly scrolling through stuff that makes you feel bad. Actively seeking out content that's inspiring or positive instead.
And even your physical space. Adding things like plants or art. Things that just make you feel good when you look at them.
It's all part of creating an ecosystem, really. An environment that supports a more positive internal state. It recognizes that connection between inner and outer worlds.
Okay. Next up was mindfulness and meditation.
Right. Mindfulness often gets talked about, but the source breaks it down simply. Just being present, paying attention to right now without judgment.
Without judgment, that seems key. Not getting carried away by thoughts or feelings.
Exactly, just observing them, like watching clouds pass in the sky. It helps reduce stress because you're not getting so tangled up in the mental drama.
And they give practical ways in, right? Like mindful breathing.
Yeah, even just a few minutes focusing on your breath can anchor you. Super simple, super accessible.
Or using guided meditations. There are tons of apps for that now, focusing on positivity or gratitude specifically.
For sure. That's a great way to start. And they also mentioned bringing mindfulness into everyday things, like really tasting your food or noticing the feeling of walking.
Savoring the small stuff, stepping out of the mental autopilot.
Precisely. It helps break those loops of worry or negativity and just appreciate the moment you're actually in.
Okay. Then the material shifted towards goals, setting realistic goals.
Yes, and the link to positive thinking is pretty clear. Achieving things, even small things, builds confidence. It gives you a sense of purpose, competence.
But the emphasis was on realistic goals, not setting yourself up to fail.
Absolutely. Breaking big ambitions down into tiny, manageable steps. So you get those little wins along the way.
Like the example of aiming for a 10-minute walk instead of a marathon right off the bat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Build momentum.
Yeah.
And then tracking that progress.
Right. Noticing that you are moving forward.
Whether it's in a journal, an app, whatever, seeing that evidence helps. And
Yeah.
celebrating the milestones, even the small ones.
Yeah, acknowledging your effort.
It reinforces that positive cycle. It's about progress, not perfection. That shift in focus really helps cultivate optimism.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Next strategy was positive self-talk. We talked about negative self-talk, so this is the flip side.
It's about deliberately cultivating a kinder, more supportive inner voice.
Yeah.
Like being your own best friend, essentially.
How? Through things like affirmations, I am capable, that sort of thing.
Yeah, using positive statements, especially when you feel doubt creeping in. It's like consciously feeding your mind positive input.
And being your own cheerleader, as the source put it.
Correct.
Encouraging yourself through tough spots.
Definitely. Offering yourself the same kindness you'd give a friend. And crucially, self-compassion.
Yes. When you mess up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Not beating yourself up. Recognizing mistakes are human, they're learning opportunities. Treating yourself with understanding builds resilience. It stops you getting stuck in negativity.
Right. Okay, moving on. Focusing on solutions, not just problems. That felt very action-oriented.
It is. It's about shifting from passively worrying to actively thinking, okay, what can I actually do here? Even a small step.
So taking back some control.
Precisely. Brainstorming options, seeing setbacks not as dead ends, but as chances to learn something. What can I take away from this?
Yeah. And they mentioned even small actions, like tidying your desk when you feel overwhelmed.
Little things that create a sense of order and progress can actually shift your mental state. It's about regaining that feeling of agency.
Okay, let's talk about something lighter, fun, engaging in joyful activities.
Yes, this isn't trivial. The source stresses. It's a direct antidote to stress. Making time for things you genuinely enjoy.
Like hobbies, painting, gardening, music.
Whatever floats your boat, it gives you a break, a creative outlet, maybe a sense of flow where you lose track of time. That's incredibly restorative.
And spending time in nature came up too.
Big time. Just being outside, walking in a park, whatever, it's grounding, reduces anxiety, really powerful.
And playfulness, games, laughter, connecting with others in a lighthearted way.
So important. It reminds us not to take everything quite so seriously all the time. It builds positive connections too.
Okay, then there's the physical side, self-care.
Yep, the mind-body connection is undeniable. You can't really sustain a positive mindset if your body is run down.
So the basics.
Exercise.
Regular movement, yeah.
Hmm?
Releases endorphins, boosts mood, aiming for, say, 30 minutes most days. Doesn't have to be intense.
And food.
Fueling yourself well, lots of fruits, veggies, whole grains.
Yeah.
Giving your brain the nutrients it needs to function optimally. It supports stable energy and mood.
Makes sense. And sleep. Can't forget sleep. Absolutely critical. 7-9 hours is the general advice. Quality sleep resets everything, physically and mentally. A good bedtime routine helps signal to your body it's time to wind down.
Okay. The next point was interesting, helping others. How does that boost your positivity?
It's powerful. When you shift focus outwards, contribute to something bigger than yourself, it gives you purpose, connection.
So volunteering or even small acts of kindness.
Exactly. Random acts of kindness, really listening to someone,
Oh,
it
yeah.
creates this positive feedback loop. You feel good for helping, they feel good. It broadens your perspective beyond your own worries.
Yeah, I can see that. It gives you a sense of making a difference.
For sure. It reminds you of your positive impact. Okay, nearly there. Next was managing overthinking and worry, a common struggle.
Tell me about it, that hamster wheel in the brain. What were
Yeah.
the tips there?
One was setting a designated worry time.
Huh.
Yeah, sounds odd, but the idea is you contain it. You tell yourself, okay, I'll worry about this for 10 minutes at 6 p.m. and try to postpone the worry until then. It can help stop it from consuming your whole day.
Interesting. Worth a try. What else?
The 5-5-5 grounding technique. When you feel overwhelmed, name 5 things you see. 5 you hear, 5 you feel. Pulls you right back into the present moment.
Oh, I like that. Very concrete.
And also focusing on what you can control and trying to let go of what you can't. Easier said than done, but vital.
True. Okay, last one. Visualization. Picturing positive outcomes.
Yeah, using your imagination intentionally, mentally rehearsing success, like picturing a presentation going well, feeling the positive feelings associated with it.
So it kind of primes your brain for success, makes it feel more possible.
That's the idea. It builds confidence, aligns your mindset with your goals. Athletes do this all the time.
And the vision board idea, putting up images and words that inspire you.
Yeah, a tangible reminder of what you're aiming for, what feels positive to you.
Yeah.
Keeps it front and center.
Or using guided imagery tracks.
Another great tool lets you relax and immerse yourself in those positive scenarios. Reinforces the feelings.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of ground we've covered. So wrapping this up, it's clear positive thinking isn't about, like, wearing rose-tinted glasses 24/7.
Not at all. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It's more about building resilience, approaching those challenges with a more resourceful, hopeful mindset, and consciously doing the things, the small habits that support that.
Right. And the big message for listeners seems to be, don't try to do all of this at once.
Please don't. That would be overwhelming. Pick 1 or 2 things that resonate, something that feels achievable right now.
And be patient with yourself.
Absolutely. It's a practice, a journey, not an overnight fix. Small, consistent steps are what make the difference over time.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Consider just one of these practices we talked about. If you were to intentionally cultivate just that one thing consistently, how might that start to subtly shift your perspective? What small changes might you begin noticing in the coming days or weeks?